Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk. I'm your host, Jeff Hootselle. Hey, as you guys know, Tech Talk's a conversation show. We're talking to interesting people in the industry that are doing cool things in IT. We'll talk about different trends and challenges that are facing folks today. Today we're going to talk about a big thing that's top of mind and should be for most companies out there, and that's cybersecurity. We've got a great guest today. We've got Dennis Chow from SCIS Security out of Houston, Texas. Dennis, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Dennis. So, from the beginning here, let's talk a little bit about it. I mean, whenever we have the pandemic going on, there's a lot of concerns from a health standpoint. But, when chaos kind of reigns and there's, change happens, presents a big opportunity for kind of bad actors in a lot of cases to take effect. Are you guys seeing that right now, where that there's kind of a spike in threats and cases as we go through everything with COVID?
We're actually seeing quite a bit of spikes in the healthcare industry. So a lot of the issues that we see are not just external threats, but insider threats. So that's also including phishing and other campaigns that generally have local exploits and malware attachments to them. And what happens is that people click on them and they get, the first insider threat pivoting from an external APT actor. And so what they're generally after is PHI, all the standard data exfiltration methods, and we're seeing a lot of other misinformation that happens from a attacker standpoint. So we're seeing attempts at DNS injection where they're trying to give fake CNN type domains. They're also trying to give fake websites that have other disinformation services to them, so that they have interesting keywords like mask related regulation. They have compliance related regulation issues. And so they're trying to get everyone to click as much as possible. And what that really is just kind of a watering hole for future attacks to get further into the network in these systems. And so that's kind of what we're also seeing generally out in the field for all of our customer bases.
Yeah, so kind of explain that for folks. So they think about this term internal threat versus an external threat. External, we always think about, bad guys overseas that are trying to hack in and doing that. But talk about the difference from an internal and external and what that looks like.
So most of the time in cybersecurity, we classify external threats as outside getting in terms of malware, in terms of maybe just general phishing campaigns. It might be just a straight on network, penetration test kind of campaign issue. It might even be external proximity-based people that are physically on site that are performing wireless-based attacks. But from an insider threat perspective, it kind of bleeds into the external threat actors in terms of clicking on links, accidentally disclosing data, taking on additional information, utilizing resources not meant to be utilized in the way that is in a acceptable use from the policies of the organization. Case in point might be instead of encrypting that email or utilizing a complex system that has security controls around there, there might be the insider threat having the flash drive and unfortunately taking that home to do extra work so they don't have to stay in the office for a given amount of time. Especially in COVID, everyone wants to be remote, but not everyone can be remote. And so insider threats are becoming a greater risk in terms of data exfiltration and a lot of new phishing and social engineering campaign attacks.
So that's interesting. So if you're talking to somebody that's leading an IT department, a CIO, a CISO, whatever, IT director, and they're trying to put their policies in place for their company strategy when it comes to security. Where do you guys recommend they start? What's, you can't do it all at once. Like, give me the top 2 or 3 things that people should start with as kind of their foundation.
In terms of general threats or security programs, if you're starting from a greenfield type of scenario, I suggest reading the NIST 853 series, which kind of gives a good oversight for most CIOs and CISOs to start off with. In terms of tactical, alignment to that strategy, you can complement that with the MITRE ATT&CK framework, which kind of gives you the notion of how to actually think like an attacker. And so there's a lot of things that you can do for initial policies that kind of implement the NIST and MITRE ATT&CK framework series. So you might, for instance, have policies that start with good information assurance and practices that are scrubbing classified data, marking them with labels. This is confidential. This is not confidential. These are other basics that you can also apply to, which is everything that's considered confidential or sensitive must be encrypted, even if you don't have an encryption program in place today. you can actually give these, maybe guidance and procedures for your administrators to teach the end user to utilize, zip attachments with encryption instead with a password at minimum. There's also things that, such as not utilizing personal flash drives that are not issued by the organization. Usually that's managed encrypted flash drives that um, utilize a series of controls for mobile device management and other things of that nature that kind of help users understand the best things they can do to protect themselves. Um, and of course, you might want to start off with also a really good web content filtering policy. So that's also a company-wide thing that can help not only in terms of cybersecurity but bandwidth concerns by blocking things that you don't really need to be going to on a regular workday. And those are things that you can really start off with and provide really good value, both from a strategy and a tactical standpoint for a lot of programs.
Yeah, that's great. Those are all really good tips. I'm interested. So, from an SCIS perspective, talk about some of the services you guys provide and really how they help. I know you guys are getting into AI and you're starting to use that as part of your strategy and tools you use. Maybe chat about that for a little bit for us.
Sure. So, SCIS, we've been around since 2016. We primarily serve the Texas and Louisiana and Oklahoma regions, so TOLA for most people in sales. And, we have over 127 customers, and what we focus on is the full stack security experience. And we focus on businesses that are not going to be paying, exorbitant amounts of fees for SOC build-outs. We provide them the full managed services experience for cybersecurity monitoring, incident response, penetration testing, and the other consulting advisory solutions like insider threat training, and other red team type scenarios. One of our biggest things that we use with AI is the joint SOC kind of approach, and joint SOC being the joint cybersecurity and physical security operations services. And so we're seeing a lot of public sector employees really take advantage of this, and customers. And so what they're looking for is known bad actors, people on the wanted list, and they don't want those around their perimeter. And so typically there are also actors that are also on the wanted list that have been known for cyber crimes. And so to be able to correlate that facial recognition, correlate identifying when someone is in the building at the wrong hours, to the cybersecurity cases that go into the computer issues where they're actually plugging in the flash drive, which flash drive was it, are they exfiltrating data? Those are things that we help customers with on a day-to-day basis, and we do so, I'd say at a very valuable service and good price point. And that's kind
Yeah,
of our main issues.
yeah. It sounds like you guys have a great portfolio of services. I mean, Dennis, for folks that want to find out more about SCIS and get in contact with you guys, where's the best place for them to track you guys down?
You can find us online at SCISsecurity.com. That's 3 S's. And then you can also find us on our old domain. We were actually bought out, so xtechsystems.com. Or you can reach us directly by phone at 281-698-0493. And, just shoot us a ping and we'll be happy to set up some time with you.
That's great. Dennis, thanks so much for coming on the show. Thanks so much for all the great tips. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
There you go. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll look forward to catching you on our next Tech Talk.